Kia ora e te iwi and welcome to another episode of UFC on Sky ko Ravinder Hunia tōku ingoa. This Sunday, the UFC promotion returns to the UK for the first time in nearly 3 years. Featuring on that card is New Zealand's own Featherweight Dan Hooker, and he joins us now from the UK. Kia ora Dan, and how are you?
Kia ora. No, I'm coming right. The jet lag was a lot harder than anticipated, but that's why I came out a week earlier than I usually would come out, so I could push right through it. So I'm coming right now. It's funny that people keep asking me about the weight cut, and they're going, "Oh, you're going to 45. What do you feel like?" And I'm like, "The weight cut is easy." I was like, "The jet lag sucks." I was like, the weight cut. If I'm comparing the two, the weight cut is nothing.
Wow. Well, describe your trip to us, Dan. What was involved and how have you been feeling over the last few days?
So I left Auckland, 12-hour flight to LAX, had a little layover there for 5 hours, and then another 12 hours to London, and then a 3-hour drive to Birmingham. So yeah, I think all up something like 36 hours door to door. So it was it was a hard slog.
How has that affected you? Because I know you say, the weight thing isn't a problem, but, a lot of things to do when you're not feeling so well is to put things into your bodies to keep hydrated and have a bit to eat. So how have you been able to, kind of mitigate that without, tipping the scales, I suppose?
Oh, like that's the benefit of being having so much experience in this avenue, is that you're not starving yourself, you're not drinking and eating. Like drinking and eating is a necessity. It's just putting the right things in and taking the right things out. So I'm living good. I'm living good. I'm eating well. I'm hydrating well. And this process is down to a fine science. I'm working with the absolute best specialists in this field in the world, and they're making sure that I'm going to step on that scale without a hitch.
And everything affects the preparation, right? You've travelled to literally the other side of the world. There's an 11-hour difference. So how's the body clock? All over the show.
All over the show. I have about 5 naps a day. I don't know what day it is. I don't know if it's the morning or the afternoon. No, it's like I'll come right by the fight. Like that's why I can. If something was really affecting me, I don't talk about it. If I'm being honest with you right now, like if you ask me a question and I'm playing it cool about something, then that thing's probably kicking my ass. But like it is hard, but I joke about it because it's not going to play any kind of factor in the fight. Like the fight's already. I feel like the story of the fight's already been written. I'm just having fun with it.
How has it been anyway? You've touched the ground. I've seen you've been, walking around like quite the little tourist, as well as touching base with this new crew in Birmingham. How has all of that been going for you?
It's been cool. Silk is Joe Silk Cummings is he's actually come over and trained at City Kickboxing. Like there's a connection there through City Kickboxing. He's come over, trained there. A teammate of mine, Mark Timms, is from Birmingham, so I'm training with like his coaches, his training partners that he's had since the start of his career. So it's been cool to because Mark Timms I've known for years, and I've heard about Birmingham, a lot of stories. So I'm getting to be there and experience it all, and that's what I really love about all this traveling, is getting out to a new place, experiencing the people, experiencing the sights and the culture. So it's been really fun to get out to Birmingham, and we just got back to London today, head into town, had a look around. Like it's a pretty incredible city as well. So I'm just soaking it all in.
Yeah, nice one. And that's kind of the trick to it, isn't it? Absorb the environment, absorb it all in. Have you been able to get over to the O2 yet?
We're going, I believe, I think we got some kind of media shindig at the O2 either tomorrow or the day after, and then we're doing like the fake weigh-in because we do the real weigh-in at the hotel, and then we do the other fake little weigh-in at the O2. That one will be the O2 as well. So I'll be able to get to check out the O2 before fight night, maybe twice, which would be good.
Is there something about that when you get to visit the stadiums? Because I know you do this in the States as well. You know, you get into the town or the city and you're doing your thing, but then you get to the stadium. Does it feel a little bit more real when you get to that stage?
Yeah, it's kind of like a dry run, especially you go and do the ceremonial weigh-in, and you follow the exact same process. Like you line up, you get on the bus. The bus takes you there. Like you get to see the stadium when it's empty. It's quite cool. You get to see the stadium completely empty and have a little walkabout. Maybe walk in the cage. Just visualize it being a packed stadium. Visualize there being 20,000 fans in there. What they're gonna sound like. What they're gonna look like. What it's gonna smell like. What it's gonna feel like inside of that thing. So it's quite cool that you get to kind of experience both the empty stadium and a completely packed stadium. That's one thing. It's one thing that I'll never take for granted.
Now, has Eugene and Twist joined you now, and how has that been going?
Yeah, it's quite funny. They just landed. They just got to the hotel about half an hour ago before I started doing this media here, and they're shell shocked. They're like, well, I was 6 days ago. They're just kind of they're standing there. Their eyes are half shut. They've got narcolepsy. They're falling asleep. They're waking up. Like I'm just thinking, man, that took me 6 days to power through. Like you're just at the start now. It's quite funny.
Oh well, then you can do your media.
Funny when it's not you.
Yeah, you look back and I remember that. But at least you can let them have a rest, get their wits about them and then start talking a little bit more business, I guess. Does it change things up, and how does it do so once Eugene and Twist now come into the mix?
We'll train at around fight time, like after this, because I think I'll be fighting in about an hour or two on Saturday night here, Sunday morning in New Zealand. So like little technical things that we can just run through, just some nice and light, some technical things, just get the body moving a little bit. But like they're here for the fight. Like guys with that much experience and that much of an eye for detail, like that's why they're like so important in a fight, because something very simple, something that they can see, some adjustment that they can make can have like a huge impact on the fight. So they're like, it's funny because they're like the jet lag is not going to affect the fight. Like they're gonna be good to go by the time it gets to fight night. I don't need them that switched on. It's more enjoyable watching them die of jet lag. But they'll come right fight night and we'll get the job done.
They're there for the smiles. Look, reports are coming out all over the place about Arnold Allen and this being his coming out party, despite him being number 7 featherweight in the division, undefeated in the UFC. But I kind of look at it for you as a rebirth of sorts coming into that new division. Have you been giving that any more thought since you've been in the UK and how you're approaching this fight?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, my first run at featherweight was a bit of an apprenticeship, and then I moved up to lightweight, and that was like my on-the-job training and my experience. And now I feel like this is just, I kind of realized that I always envisioned this. This is playing out the way I actually envisioned it, and then coming back down to featherweight as the completed product, as a well-rounded fighter that's been in all of those tough spots and has persevered and pushed through and come out the other side as still confident in himself and still very skillful and still believes he's the best fighter in the world. So I'm just excited for that bell to ring and for it to showcase it all. Like, we just did a funny interview here where we sat there, we did like a face-off one where I sat down and it was like me, the interviewer, and Arnold. And yeah, like we kind of ran through all of that, and I was just like, man, I'm not trying to construct some kind of
Yeah.
argument with Arnold. It's not even about. I'm not even thinking about Arnold. Like this is me versus me, and that's what it comes down to. When I am on, and when I am competing at my best, and when I am focused on the best of my abilities, I'm the best fighter in the world. So it's about me focusing on me, not getting distracted, not deviating from that plan, and going out there and just performing the way that I'm capable of performing.
Well, look, Dan, I won't distract you any further as well, and leave it at that. Dan, we're wishing you all the very...
You're keeping me awake.
Okay, we'll go and get some sleep then. But all the very best for the weekend ahead, Dan. We will be watching, despite it being so early in the morning. You know, we'll be watching.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
7th ranked UFC featherweight fighter Arnold Allen will be greeted to what we're predicting to be a roaring home crowd at the O2 in London when he faces Dan Hooker, and he joins us from London right now. Kia ora and hello, Arnold Allen.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. Arnold, I'll ask you, how is it going so far? It's fight week, you're amongst it all at the moment, media going a little crazy as well. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's good to have a little bit extra to do, so it sort of kills those sort of boring moments when you're sat in the hotel drinking bottles of water. So yeah, it's giving me more to do. It's keeping me busy, keeping me preoccupied. It's been good.
Nice one. Now, before we get into the fight stuff, I understand that you and Dan Hooker had a separate promotional thing where you two actually came together, and I'm not sure, what the interaction was like or anything, but from what we've heard from Dan Hooker is that you're a pretty stand-up bloke, that you're a really nice guy. What have you made of Dan Hooker in that interaction?
Yeah, pretty much the same, to be fair. There's no bad words to say, really. Nothing bad to say.
Well, there's the one thing that, a kind of a conversation is when you meet these two, really nice guys, real, veterans to the sport and students of, mixed martial arts, as opposed to, these two enemies coming forward. We don't like each other, there's bad blood. It's quite the contrast from the card we saw, only last week with the Americans involved. How do you find that coming into a fight? Is it easier to not like your opponent, or how do you find it when you come up against a guy who you feel is, a really nice guy?
Personally, I don't really feel like it makes a difference. I don't have to dislike the guy I'm fighting. The way I see it is sport. It's like we're playing football, so I'm thinking of it as a sport. See, it is a fight at the end of the day, but it's sport, so I don't have to hate him. The way I'm thinking about it, landing my punches is scoring goals. So yeah, that's the way I look at it.
It's actually a great way to look at it. Talking about the fight itself, what do you make of Dan Hooker as a fighter?
Yeah, he's a great opponent. He's got a lot of great highlights. He's fought a lot of the top guys, and he's beat a lot of the top guys. So there's a lot of respect there.
You're ranked number 7, as I already mentioned, in the featherweight division. And, there's a lot of talk about how this fight is your coming out party, but you're undefeated in the UFC, ranked number 7. Why do you think that is, perhaps? I'm quite quiet. I don't, I don't say a whole lot. But, and I've been sort of slowly... I haven't been the most active in my UFC career through injuries and whatnot. But, I'm planning to sort of write all that and get busy, get a win here and try and stay active. Yeah, and that's fair enough. And obviously, Dan Hooker's name was put in front of you as a fighting option. What was it that attracted you to this fight?
Just like the prestige of a win over someone like that. He's got a lot of big wins on his record, like I say, and him coming down and a win here does great for me. I think it does more than beating someone ranked at featherweight. Where he's ranked at lightweight. and he has that name. There's no one in that sort of 7 to 10 sort of featherweight ranking that has that name, that weight in his name. So beating someone like him does more than beating number 6 in the division. So.
Do you feel a sense of, I don't know how to word it, maybe like territorial? I mean, you're the one that's been in the featherweight division this whole time. Dan's coming, back into the division from lightweight. Is there kind of a sense of, defending the featherweight honour of sorts?
No, not at all. I know what you mean, but no, not really. Just, if anyone makes the weight, they are the weight, So if Francis Ngannou makes featherweight, he's a featherweight. So, yeah, I hope he doesn't, but I mean, if he does, then yeah.
If he ever did, that would be a fight to watch, Arnold Allen.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed he doesn't get any ideas.
Look, you've been preparing for Dan Hooker. Another big talking point is his height, is his reach. And that's an advantage that he has coming into the featherweight division, right? So you've been training alongside welterweight Leon Edwards and lightweight Jai Herbert. So talk about those preparations you've been trying to combat. Yeah,
those guys are fantastic training partners, like the perfect kind of body types as well. So it's it's been hard work sparring with those guys, but getting used to that range, getting used to that sort of level of striker, it's been it's been a good experience, and I feel like those guys that sort of help prepare me perfectly. It's been great.
You're not the type of fighter to stand by and watch a fight anyway, but how important is it to take the fight to someone like Dan Hooker who has that kind of advantage?
Yeah, 100%. If you give someone like him space to work, like he gets even more dangerous. He goes from being dangerous and then it gets worse and worse and worse. So you have to take that away and sort of, plant your feet and sort of hold your ground.
How much of all of this, Arnold, is, kind of the mental strength of it all? I mean, it's kind of the perfect storm in terms of you really wanting to solidify your name in the featherweight division and the UFC in general. To do it at home, to do it at the O2 is just an added bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. It's been 3 years since the last event in London. It's been 2 years since I fought in front of fans, and to be fighting in front of a home crowd and post-COVID in the UK and everything's open. Fans are sort of raring to go. They're very excited to have an event, and to be nearly at the top of the bill fighting someone like Dan Hooker on this it's a great feeling. It's going to be awesome.
How important is it to keep that in check? It can get quite, it can get the better of you at times, emotionally and how you feel, the magnitude of this fight may mean. So how much of that comes into play? We know you got the skills, we know you can scrap, but how much, stability do you need up here as well?
Yeah, that's everything really. Some fighters sort of thrive on emotion, but I like to put my trust in my skills and my coaches and try and keep a cool head, even when you're in them trenches. And, that's sort of, I feel it's got me this far, not acting on emotion, just sort of trying to keep it cool and, not let the crowd get sort of in your head and, when they're screaming to hit him or do this, do that. But keeping a cool head is everything. Exactly.
And of course, has your team joined you now? Your team that's based in Canada, ready for fight night?
Yeah. Faraz Zahabi is over here. My dad's here. My coach in the UK is over here. So, we're all here. We're all ready.
Cool. Now, a bit of a off-the-topic question, this one, and I spoke this to you about a little bit off camera as well as this is Arnold Allen's coming out party. I feel like with every interview, your nana is getting more and more famous in terms of what she's thinking about this fight. Where is she standing now, Arnold? How is she feeling about it all?
I haven't spoken to her in a week because she called me last week and she's like, I'm going to stop calling you now. I don't want to stress you out anymore. So, but I don't know. I don't think her opinion's changed. I think but every time I fight someone, she has something bad to say. Last time I think I fought when I fought Gilbert Melendez, she asked me where he's from. I said I think he was Mexican. And she was like, "Oh, they're tough." I was just like, "Yep." When I fought Sadiq Yusuf, she said because he was Nigerian, she said the same thing. Like, "Oh no, they're strong." was like, yep, yeah, they are.
Because did I hear right that she was asking you if Dan Hooker was Māori from New Zealand?
Yeah, because first she was asking the height. I said, oh, don't worry about the height, and it's you know, we're figuring it out. We've got a plan. She goes, well, is he married? I said, well, I don't know. I hope not. She's like, oh, he better not be. Oh, yeah, that was funny.
It's the cutest thing. It's so nice to see. I mean, that's probably one thing universal that's come out of this whole thing that everyone can relate with you is, you know, your love and your care for your grandmother and, you know, how your nanas would feel about you going into a situation where they fear that you might get hurt. It's the cutest thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, Arnold, what does the rest of the week look like for you now? Obviously, you'll be bunkering down and fine-tuning, but I'm guessing training and things like that have finished now.
Yeah, so I've got a little session tonight. I'm going to move around, get a little sweat on, and try and get an early night, and then cut some weight, make some weight. Yeah.
Well, see, the weight cutting goes all around, doesn't it? It's always one of the most important parts of the game. But Arnold, thank you so much for joining us and for our wee introduction to our New Zealand audience. All the very best for UFC Fight Night in London.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Whānau, you can catch all the action this Sunday morning, UFC Fight Night London, coming to you live from the O2. The prelims start at 6 a.m, so you're going to have to set your alarms for that one. The main card, which features Arnold Allen facing Dan Hooker, starts from 9 a.m. All the action will be live on ESPN, so don't miss it. From us here, mā te wā.